The forge has gone quiet, the bellows blow no more. The forge has gone quiet, the smiths have gone home. Only fading embers remain, and my hearth grows cold. One kiss from you to rekindle it all.
Okay, we are back, Nick. I saw you. We're back with episodes 19 and 20 of Queen of Embers. Nick can just not sit still. We can never do it.
So good.
So we're back in episodes 19 and 20 of Queen of Embers. This is Daniel Fox, your game master. We're joined here by the playtesters, the cult, the gang, the people who made Zweihänder and Main Gauge and Queen of Embers. Awesome. And other games too, because we actually just made our announcement for Colonial Gothic just a few days ago, which for our listeners, you're probably hearing this weeks after the fact.
Right. Yeah, it'll be weeks.
Yeah,
You.
probably.
But to us, in current time, it's about, we made the announcement Monday, it's Wednesday now. A lot of good, positive interactions over it. Richard Iorio, the guy who wrote it originally, took us a little bit to work through the agreement, but we're on the same page and moving at a pretty steady clip. Our goal is to launch Colonial Gothic at Gen Con in 2020. So stay tuned for our Kickstarter, maybe some special videos showcasing some Colonial Gothic mechanics. We may even run a short little campaign during the Siege of Boston, maybe.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Survival horror in the colonial in 13 colonies. It'll be fun. So, but today we're back to play some Queen of Embers. So you'll probably notice for our viewers and listeners that Tim, who plays Banneker or Bannister, as Mike sometimes
Bannister.
Banneker, unfortunately, is out. He's out for a funeral, so we're pretty sad about that. But we're joined by the rest of the gang tonight. So let's just jump right into the game. Maybe what we can do, would be helpful though, would be to have somebody do kind of a recap of what happened last session, because Walter was out, but a few critical things happened.
Someone almost died. I mean, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, right. I mean, I've got my...
Not the first fate point that's been spent, but the second, and it's only been 20 episodes. And many more ahead. So, what happened last game session? Who wants to do the update?
I've got my letter.
Oh, you wrote the letter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I wanted to go with that, right?
So Elisa is going to read aloud the letter she is in character written to the master of the Dufresne Agency.
Yeah. Director.
The director, yeah. Alexei Casimir, the director of occult investigations.
Director, I don't know what happened. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to believe at this point. Jonas Sparrow, he nothing but a drunk, but he took us down the river to this lonely island. It must have been the source of the reek, because it is the place that I smell it the strongest, and where everyone else seems to also be having the most issue with it. The sound came from below, and these birds sang as we entered a desolate temple. We found ourselves praying to the Covenant, to our random gods, to someone who apparently likes pieces of twigs and small things, as Warren has pointed out, but we found nothing. It then appeared that we found a sinkhole over to the side. As we went towards it, we found that there were stairs leading to the bottom. There was a ring in the center and sigils and equations covering the walls everywhere. I tried to mark them down, but as one of our members stepped into the circle, it set off some sort of trap, I suppose, that blew the journal from my hands and ripped it to shreds. Then these large birds with faces, not bird faces, people faces, they appeared, and they attempted to shred me to pieces, and I don't know what happened. Seems like I was shredded, but then I don't know. Obviously I'm still here. I twisted my ankle at worst when I should have been eviscerated, but then they disappeared. Warren, however, claims that he saw some divine vision. We all know that superstition runs strong with him, but something about seeing all of Malhalla, I don't know. It seems like his weird ways have finally gotten the best of him. But we went back to Hexenstern, and there was more talk of superstitions, and finally some actual information. The circle in the sinkhole had blue cloaks and a cloak pin that looked like a water wheel, which was apparently of the La Vinci, a no longer funded house of education. The place was burnt down, starting at the library, questionably enough, but it still has a few students left at the headmaster Felix Hofstad. So I suppose now is the time to pay a visit to our colleagues. And as Hexenstern has told me, I must listen to the thunder.
So a lot transpired last game session. We'll assume probably that Alistair was not there. It's probably safe to assume, so we can bring him up to speed in character on what has transpired. Essentially, it's the next day, Alistair, and you have been troubled by these dreams, these nightmares almost of this other self, of you elsewhere. It's almost as if your daytime and your nighttime has begun to bleed together, and since the night of Penumbra, you have felt discombobulated, like you're not even sure right now as you sit, clearly completely tired, like you've been mostly unable to sleep, and dreams have, or so sleep has come in fits and starts, and you are in peril when you awaken that day. You feel the heaviness of your head, and you feel that you've been running on fumes for the past 7 days, or 11 days, ever since the night of Penumbra. When your companions walk into the cloakroom, it almost seems like yet another dream, until you feel the cold grasp of Terwin's hand on your shoulder as it's getting chilly outside. Autumn is getting late. It's almost November now. The leaves have lost the trees have lost all their leaves. It's turned very quickly toward a very bitter autumn day.
Hello, mate.
Aye.
Did you rest well?
About as well as you, I'd imagine.
There are these dark circles beneath Alistair's eyes. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. And in fact, it's mostly true. Not only safe for your investigations, but even when you've been here, he seems to have been elsewhere at times.
Can't blame me for a bit of hopeful thinking, huh?
I miss my home.
Yeah, me too.
What did you find?
We, I don't even know where to start.
Warren sidles up to the table and sits down.
So we goes to the Lonely Island, right? And we smell this terrible stench, and we try and go towards it, and we find this old well. It's completely dried out, and there's all these symbols strewn all over the place, written, and these 5 triangles, 6 triangles, something like that, pointing inwards, and these cloaks laying about. Anyways, we see that there's this key inside this circle. Warren volunteered to retrieve it, and I'll let him tell you about it. I still don't think I understand it, even though we've gone over it.
Yeah, I mean, volunteer is one way of putting it, but almost felt like a man possessed stepping in there. It just didn't quite make sense, you know? Just, like someone else was wearing my skin for a second and just stepped through my feet, and I went. Sure enough, I stepped in and felt a white hot flash of fire covering my body. Bumped me to the ground, and all I could see was just the Mahoma floating in a black void all by itself. And then closer the city, and I could see us there, all waiting. And that's when the bird creatures attacked. They came from up high with human faces. Started coming at us, everyone. I think it may have hit Elisa there, and then I stepped outside of the circle and they were gone. So I don't know what to say. It's just, but ever since then, the smell, the stink of the reek is lessened.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened there.
Like a ward, some kind of witchcraft then.
Could be.
Did you get the key?
We got the key.
Yes.
Yeah, and we all saw it. It wasn't just him who saw the birds. No,
Yeah.
the bird people.
And when I picked it up, it was white hot. Not anymore though, but thought that strange itself too.
Elisa pulls out the key.
So we,
Wonder what that goes to.
Da Vinci something.
yeah, you see that. Hold it up. You see that that water wheel on that key.
I suppose I do.
It matches the coat clasps. So we was thinking, yeah, maybe there's something in what school was it? University.
The Da Vinci House.
Yeah, that one.
Apparently it's a defunct educational institute here.
So we know of the guy that what's his name? The old drunk.
Jonah?
Jonas. Yeah, he said he mentioned the guy there that went in with all the men that went in there with the cloaks, and the one came back. So we saw all the cloaks there, except there was the one missing. So I'm assuming he's still at large. Who knows where?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we find him, I'm sure he's got a story to tell.
We know he's got a white mustache.
Yeah.
I took a look around if this is the same bloke we were talking about just the other night. Didn't find him.
I think so.
He's the one who came back.
Yeah.
Right, that
Yeah.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
I
He's
knew.
the one.
Same one.
I knew he was fucking important. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be dressing while we talk about while we're talking, just sort of idly putting clothes on,
Certainly.
getting ready to putting overcoats on. Listen, fellas, and otherwise, I want to have a conversation about something. You said it felt like somebody else had taken the reins on your skin, so to speak.
Well, yeah. I mean, it wasn't just last night or the night before. I can't quite recall, but it's been ever since Penumbra. It's like my name doesn't feel right, and just everything's out of whack.
You asked me maybe a fortnight ago, I would have told you that I thought you were a fucking nutter.
Hey, I would have said the same to someone that said such, but you gotta believe me.
What, do you also feel this way?
Not just that. Specific places. Places that aren't memories, places that aren't just me fucking imagining it. I'm seeing myself walk places that I ain't been before. And I'm seeing it all the damn time.
That ain't right.
No shit, it ain't right. I'm getting something is wrong. It's like something is willing me home. But here I am. I ain't going nowhere. And it was that same cursed damn night, I tell you. I felt that way ever since.
Right?
I wasn't here for any of this. So is there anyone else that particularly feels that they're not themselves at this point? Is it all of you? Is it just the two of you?
I feel like I'm me. But, I mean, sometimes these things affect people differently.
It's disconcerting to know that there could be a possibility of sanity questions.
Well, I believe
Especially-
we're all competent. But,
The competency has nothing to do with it.
well, if you're
If you're
insane, you're probably incompetent.
Unfortunately, not necessarily do they go in hand in hand.
But I think we need to hunt down that institute. Go knock on some doors, maybe knock on some skulls. See if we can get some answers.
Was there something specific that happened on those nights, though? Because to be honest, I am of course wanting to continue the investigation and find out what is wrong, but I have come in at the time that after all of these things supposedly happened to you.
Same night.
Right. So
Same exact fucking night.
the night that those slavers kidnapped the kids.
Right. But
Before that, there was this weird lamp. I think that's when these boys started feeling a little bit off.
So
Right,
not,
one of
not
the lamplighter lamps.
explosion and thinking that you're floating above the world. But
It wasn't that weird, but it's just
It was a bit ominous.
kind of a sense of not belonging and someone else. Like, my name ain't Warren, it's something else. Maybe I'm someone else. Maybe I've always been someone else. I don't know.
it would just be nice that if there was something in particular you could point to, that if we should run into it again, there's a way to possibly avoid it.
Well, I mean, it's not really something that's directly your concern, I suppose, if it's only my name.
Well,
I mean,
No, if there's
I
two
can
of
just
you.
well, I'm
avoid
just saying
lamps that aren't on the map.
I can just
That's the key.
I can try to tough it out as best I can, but and give you the details as they come, but it ain't a danger to you as far as I can tell.
I don't like the unknown.
Well, no one does.
Well, I think you picked the wrong job then.
Obviously.
That or she picked the right job because it's her job to figure out the unknown.
Hence the reason I have the job I have.
Yeah, but you still don't like it then.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you this. I felt my breath leave my body that night. And when I woke up, I was fucking fine. Not even so much as a sprain.
And I thought you were dead to rights.
And look at me. I'm as fit as a fiddle.
Well,
You thought you were dead.
better than any fiddle I can play.
I was certain of it. I've seen enough death to know what that's supposed to look like. And I should have been fucking dead.
Stranger and stranger. But I assume, Lieutenant, you would agree with our stance on going to the La Vinci house then. Dare not dwell on these things any longer.
Huh?
Oh. The La Vinci house?
Yeah, it's the Da Vinci house. Yeah.
We go?
How many days until your injuries healed and recuperated, by the way?
I've got 6 days.
6 days.
Jeez.
It's been 11 days now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really long day.
It was a grievous injury.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alyssa just puts her hand in her hand.
I'll take a tincture, suffer my corruption.
All right.
Sometimes
Yeah,
just
you
have to
remember
step
what
up
we
and
talked about.
The splitting up.
Yeah, you do your thing.
I know how to talk to educators, yes. Shouldn't be a problem.
Well, yeah, you open your mouth.
Yes. Seems not as effective with you currently, but yes.
Well, he's all ears.
I am now.
Exactly.
Right then.
How's your eye looking?
Well,
Give me a seat of that this morning.
sure. If you'd be so kind.
Do you have a Dwale?
Yeah, he's got all
Yeah, I got 3 left.
It's a routine heal test.
That'll be a
Treat
64%
his
chance.
Stinky eye.
60 or 74% chance to see. And that is a success.
Okay. Will not suffer from the reap this day.
Say it before I'll say it again. Keep your finger out of that eye.
All right. Well, I'll put it in this one then. I'll scratch my other eye.
So, we's going to Da Vinci house, and we's going there to investigate. But why is we going there to investigate? Like, I mean, I know why are we telling them we're going there to investigate? I had a bit much last night. It was, yeah. So I'm having a bit of trouble remembering the full plan. I know she'd go and say, yeah, she was a student and all that, and we was gonna go and we was gonna present ourselves as
Dufresne?
agency, yeah.
I don't know as we established that.
All I know is y'all were doing a lot of talking, so I decided to go do a lot of praying.
Well,
I need to do a bit of that myself.
if you're gonna be lying about something, you best figure it out, 'cause not my forte.
Yeah, I'm no liar.
Well, see, maybe we didn't think it out, but if we go there, it's got to have a reason. Like, I mean, we can't just say, oh, we found this cloak and this key, because she's gonna have it.
Right.
Well, it's not like Mr. Hextenstern could have made introductions. I don't know if those.
No,
Those
he's not associated with him. I remember that much. And
We don't have a cloak. We have a pen.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wanted to carry one of those burnt things back.
That's right.
I think a burnt cloak might speak to something that they might know.
It might be a bit obvious, huh?
No, I wasn't going to present any of it to them.
How are we gonna get a blue cloak then?
No, I wasn't going to present. If there's only a small student base, I'd assume they all know their faces.
Well, I mean, we can at least go reconnoiter it.
Oh, that's what we were gonna do.
Well,
Yeah, we were gonna go there and we were going to.
I was gonna go as a prospective student.
Yeah, and we was gonna watch it for a bit to
Alright.
to gain intel. That's what we was gonna do.
So
Yes.
we're not going in.
Not yet. And depending on how it looks, you may not be going in yet. It's gonna be more your call, but
And if you remember our training, not everything looks as the way it looks.
no.
Yep, that's right.
I don't really understand what you want me to do.
Looking.
We're gonna
That's what I can see is what you're saying. We're
Yeah.
just looking.
We're gonna check it out, and then when we decide to go in, because she's gonna go and look and see if she can find something posing as a student, because she's got a key, she's got a clasp. I wonder if this key goes to anything, or if they've gotten anything written down, or if she can find the man with a white mustache. You know, something.
So the only thing I have as a defining mark is a white mustache.
He was covering up his right arm.
So we probably heard.
Burnt, most likely.
It's most likely burnt, yeah.
Alright.
And so he'd have some sort of injury on his.
How
He
long,
said it was his right arm.
how
right?
long ago
Yeah.
was it that happened? Penumbra, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's ever since the reek, so it probably wouldn't have been healed by then, I'd imagine.
Not even a full fortnight.
Right.
No.
Well,
Less
So
than
it'd be
2
a
weeks.
fresh. It'd be
Depends on how severe it was.
somewhat of a fresh wound. Wouldn't be no scarring by that time. So look out for someone with a
Bandages.
probably bandaged arm or hurt in some way.
Yeah. So like you said, depends on how severe the burn is.
Oh, you could have just fell and broke it. But even then,
Well,
It'd be bound up.
with what we saw from the key and other things that were down in that area, the burned cloaks, etc., I would assume burn. Makes the most sense.
yeah.
But in some way, he's injured.
You got any burns on you, Warren?
Warren holds up his arm. His forearm is completely devoid of hair. It wasn't just my imagination.
Smooth and pink as the day you were born.
Got anything with sleeves on it.
Mm-hmm.
Might want to wear it.
Where in part of the town is the university?
Bassius Square.
Alright. So we got a location, we got an idea where that's at. Alright, well we can sit here and speculate all day, or we can go there and spectate all day.
Well, we've been speculating clear enough as far as I can tell.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to walk by it
Alright,
as if we're looking for something else.
alright.
And we're going to see what's there. If there happens to be like an inn or a pub, we can go in there.
All right.
Spend some time pacing the joint.
All right.
Would I know of another academy that they might not have had issues with?
Do you know no academies or chapter houses, as it's called? You know no other chapter houses in the city.
Not in the city, like one that could be from somewhere else that they might not, like is fairly neutral if you get it.
Yes, in fact, if you recall, the La Vinci chapter house was built to rival its correspondent in Rowley in a place called Arkwright Chapter House.
Okay.
What was the above board? What was the name of the academy where Liam Dufresne went? I can't remember the name of that.
I don't recall, but we can assume that it's somewhere in Rowley.
Yeah. It was something specific to do with the plot, but now I can't remember.
Elisa switches them their commoner clothes.
What about the rest of you? Will you take any added precautions?
Yeah.
Come as you are.
We're gonna dress plainly and no weapons.
What about yourself, Warren?
Are we going past the checkpoint?
No?
Why wouldn't we?
Okay. What about yourself, Alistair?
I'll take as much precautions as I always do, and I can hold out my weapons if necessary.
Okay.
And I'm holding out a knuckle duster.
And yourself, Terwin?
I guess I'll leave my spear behind.
A little hard
So
to
shield
hide.
and sword.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. You will gather your things up and begin to head to Besiah Square. Or I should say you're already in Besiah Square, you're in the cloakroom.
Yeah.
It is early morning, and you suspect that it is a Sabbath, because there are hardly any people on the streets today. Although there are some merchanters still peddling their wares, Besiah Square is not nearly as busy as it normally would be. Even despite the season, you would expect there to be quite a bit of foot traffic around here. You can hear the pealing of distant bells of chapels as they are gathering around the 11th hour of the day, before noon. And after asking around, you managed to find out where La Vinci Chapter House is. It's down a road quite far from Besiah Square, in fact. It seems to be kind of isolated, almost in a pocket, toward the end of a grand cul-de-sac, where you can see that there's kind of broken flagstone, some overgrowth here and there, but a fairly quiet part of the town, meaning there's hardly anyone here. In fact, the surrounding buildings are mostly abandoned, but the chapter house itself is absolutely unmistakable. It almost looks like it is an unfinished yet formidable castle of a sort, more like a fortified castle. It is surrounded by a series of barracks and students' quarters. In fact, you can see that the whole place is surrounded by this very tall, mostly unfinished wall that's spiked with iron. Like, this place may not have started out as a chapter house at all, perhaps at one point, you would guess. There appears to be a couple local sentries who probably work for the chapter house near its gates. But the whole thing looks like some great slumbering giant in danger of never really awaking from its hibernation. The place is quiet. It is isolated for the rest of the city, it seems. You can hear and you can smell the scents of the city in here, and you can hear the din of people somewhere out deeper within, but you don't really see anyone around here. What you do notice as you begin to kind of like pass by the gates where a pair of sentries are kind of very lax at keeping watch, you can see kind of that there are a number of symbols carved in the stone, kind of ringing the finished walls. It appears to be kind of surrounded by wooden scaffolding and just abandoned. There's piles of brick and stone that have gathered here that have never been put back together by brick masons. Like, this place is just completely unfinished. But your eyes immediately turn toward the archway where you can see written in ancient all that simply says, "All is numbers." The smell of the reek is very faint today.
That's good. It helps me not to scratch my eye.
As you look toward the grand building, the center of this half-walled complex, you can see that clearly has caught fire at some point, because you can see that parts of the building have collapsed and that the interior framework of the building, the large timbers that would hold up second and third floors, have collapsed over, but only portions of the chapter house. But this, without a doubt, is La Vinci Chapter House. There's no mistaking it.
How long ago did this burn down?
You're not really sure.
Okay, Hexenstern didn't give us an actual time.
He did not, unless you wrote it down. I don't believe he did.
I don't remember him giving us a time.
I don't believe that he did.
Does it appear that it was years ago, or is this fairly recent?
Roll a tradecraft test. This test will be challenging.
Shit, let's try.
Yeah.
I'm untrained, I can't.
You can flip a
you
fail.
make-
Yeah, that's true. Flip to
Flip fail.
Let's have fun.
You got this.
Challenging. Alright.
MBD.
Just roll an 11.
I have a 46 in tradecraft, so 36.
Or 0.
Nope. That's an 88.
That's
Oh,
a critical
critical
failure.
failure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Well, you're
What's a
You're-
building?
not really sure when it burnt down, and frankly, you're highly suspect that the entire place would even be hospitable to anyone. Your mind immediately looks toward the sentries, and I mean, they could very well just be guarding a mausoleum for all you know. You start to feel very nervous.
Okay.
So nervous
Yeah.
that you suffer 8 mental peril.
So there are other dilapidated buildings around this
Impervious
place?
mind.
I'm sorry?
Impervious mind.
Which
When you
allows
suffer
what?
mental peril, reduce your peril condition track by 1 less.
Cool.
So I don't take anything.
You don't suffer peril, but you are suffering from stress,
Okay.
which is 3 corruption.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're uncertain whether or not this place is even sturdy enough to stand.
Okay.
It would have been a great conflagration to consume the stone building as such.
My guess, witch fire.
Really?
Well, which one?
You know, witch
Oh,
fire.
I'll look around. Is there any place that someone would come here to be like for a reason? So like, is there a pub? Is there a draper? Is there an artisan? Is there anything nearby?
No such businesses appear to be surrounding this, at least those that are in operation. There are certainly abandoned shops that are around here, but none of them have open signs, nor are their doors open, nor are there other people around here. Literally, this seems to be kind of the end of a long, kind of winding road that terminates at this cul-de-sac where the chapter house rests.
Huh.
You at least know you're close to the Bastards River because you can smell the slaughter not far from here. You can smell the wafting smell of fish and animals carried up on the wind.
Lisa nervously starts to approach the front gate. Make sure that she's got a good distance away from them. Doesn't look like she
Yeah.
might be involved, just in case the sentries do see them.
Sure.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be paying too much of a mind as you approach, and oh, hello, one of them says as you walk up, almost expecting you to pass through.
No. She nods to them and just walks on through.
Okay. She passes through completely unmolested, not stopped whatsoever. And as you head through the gates, you kind of pretend like you belong here. As you pass through the gates, it kind of opens up into a very large, unkempt yard. Everything is either unfinished or already falling into a state of disrepair. You can see that the road around here within the yards kind of wind this way and that with some undergrowth kind of growing wild. There are a few broad trees that have been here probably for years and years and years, decades even, that grow, but they are bereft of leaves. The wall that surrounds this place, it just happens to cast a very long shadow, so whatever warmth the sunlight was casting before, you're now standing in shadow. It's about 10 degrees cooler.
Are leaves on the ground near these trees?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, I meant to ask, anybody else go with her inside?
Nope.
I'm gonna try to reconnoiter the rim. Like I said, take a nice wide kind of, not get really any close, just eye shot it and just kind of.
What of yourself, Alistair?
No, I'll go with them. These are wrought iron gates. Can we see through into the yard?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So yeah, you can see that the leaves have been they have not been raked.
But they're
Yeah,
not.
it's nothing
These
clean.
trees aren't dead. They're just.
That's right.
It's just autumn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Warren, are you
Less
staying
ominous.
with him?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay with him. I'll spend my time doing nothing, feeding Agnes a piece of stale bread or something.
Me.
So he's reconnoitering the rim, and you two are with me.
Mm-hmm.
Aye. Which of you two who's like spinning yarn?
Nope.
Huh?
Nope. Not me.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely certain what you're asking.
Can you
Do
tell?
you want me to
folks-
tell you a story?
We're gonna tell them a story.
Forgot to write down.
Like, are we putting them to bed? They need to get their sleep. I don't know what you. What are you asking me?
So, I was wanting to know if you could maybe let them guards know that maybe we're looking to, I don't know, procure a building around here for the Dufresne Agency or something like that. Because we're looking at starting up a base of operations or something. I'm trying to figure some reason why we're here, when there ain't no buildings that are doing nothing.
Well, we can just go in these other buildings over here where there's nothing there. It used to be a shop, looks like.
All right, let's check it out.
All right.
This is actually what I was thinking. Like Harper was thinking, like we could probably find a building around here that'd be nice, cheap, and easy. But I might mention that back when I get the lieutenant. So I'm just like walking around checking out the real estate area.
Well, it's clear as you come to the door, they have been shut and shuttered and locked, and you can see that there is some piece of weather-worn paper indicating that they have been condemned by order of the Baroness, the sun, moon, the stars of the Rindle. They are marked with her seal. The city has shut these buildings down.
Well, so now we've seen that, maybe we can ask them if we can see about, you know, building the building here. Like we're knocking it down, we're building one up.
Right. Okay. I think.
As for, in the case of Harper, you're kind of wandering around all around the building as far as you possibly can. You see a few outbuildings, but they're clearly not connected to the chapter house.
Right.
You would guess that probably some of these nearby 2 to 3 story apartments with these tall peaked roofs maybe are where students would house themselves. They probably don't live on the grounds itself.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see anyone in the streets. But it's clear people live here.
Okay.
They've cleared the streets of garbage and debris, at least. But just kind of tall, stuccoed buildings all around here. But other than that, there'd be no way to break into the Lavinci unless you were simply to scale the nearly sheer walls with this very formidable-looking kind of iron spikes that kind of curl over. That would make, you can only imagine for a second-story person, that would be right pluckings for a grapple, but you would be spotted almost immediately, if not by the people in the yards, by somebody in the surrounding city. But you can, every once in a while, if the wind kind of carries through, you can hear the sounds of Messiah Square carry through the alleys. But this place is very silent. It's cold. It's cold and quiet as a crypt.
Yeah.
Almost as quiet as a library, one could say. The entirety of this city block.
What I want to do, if I think people are living in those buildings, I'd want to like take a deep breath in and see if, do I smell shit?
What do you mean smell shit?
Well, because my thought process is, if there's people here and people collect that shit, then we know someone that may know something.
Oh, you see empty chamber pots outside.
Okay.
It's clear that the students who live here put their chamber pots out and they've already been collected.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nearly midday now.
I'll try to make a mental note to mention that to the lieutenant.
I have no idea what you're up to.
Me?
What you're on about.
Shitty business is what it is.
Sniffing around the shit pot.
Eventually, the four of you kind of collect back together right as she walks through the gates.
So,
Well,
what do you think of that?
There it is.
well, there ain't much. I think there's some places for students, around yonder. And well, I had this idea. Well, 'cause, we had our associate, Mr. Black,
Mm-hmm.
and if their gong is getting collected, and those guys hear things, maybe they know things about this place. So we're just looking for information. We might go to him,
Ah,
or you might go. I don't get along with him very well.
so you mean to do that instead of come up with some wild and crazy tall tale?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, the only thing that popped in my head was, maybe we're trying to buy a building around here. I mean, probably pretty cheap real estate.
Ah.
I mean, we do need a base of operations besides a cloakroom.
Ah,
Well,
okay.
these places down here are condemned. As far as I know, what that means is building it ain't right for living in or being in. Roof might cave in on your head. So
Well,
there'd be work to be done,
It wouldn't be cheap.
which costs money.
I do.
Well, are we actually planning on moving in, or are we just lying about it?
Well, at first I was lying about it, and now, depending on what it takes, I'm thinking it's more and more genuine as I keep thinking about it.
Well, that'll help. But
Yeah,
I don't know. What do y'all want to do? Wait?
I think it is a good idea. If as long as we could see about affording it, and then affording it would mean doing jobs, more jobs. But we can get some information.
Or we could just break in and squat, but
So moving back to Elisa, who's actually in the yard, you continue to ruminate on the pluses and minuses
real estate.
of buying real estate near La Vinci Chapter House.
Yeah.
As Elisa is actually in the Chapter House grounds. You see that there are kind of tall, arched, thresholds to pass through. The doors are completely open, and these large kind of stairs, almost like the whole building sits on a great dais. Seems to be nestled upon it, where you probably pass through. You look around and there's nobody really in the yard, save for what looks like a local, some sort of laborer, you would guess, as he is sweeping the leaves from a nearby stairwell that have blown inside the La Vinci Chapter House proper.
Okay. Does there appear to be any foot traffic marks that I can see that go to like a specific area?
The grass is certainly worn. You can tell where people have walked. I mean, there's footpaths that essentially make their way through the yards here. There's a stone walkway that looks well weathered over the years. It splits off to go further around the building through the yards itself. You would guess, kind of judging by the fact that it heads into like a small hedge maze, that it's probably a way to gather your thoughts, to take a pause, to daydream, as would be invaluable to any person of reason and philosophy.
She'll walk up to the laborer type.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Oh, good day, he says.
No, I was looking for Headmaster Hofstad. Do you think you could tell me where he might be?
The headmaster.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, Headmaster Hofstorz, yes. He usually stays up there." He points toward this, what looks like a very, very tall tower, kind of adjacent to the main donjon, but clearly attached to it somehow. Tall octagonal tower that is unassailable unless you were actually inside of the chapter house proper.
Oh. Well, is Is there any other instructors I might speak with?
I'm a clerk. He kind of stops and pauses, kind of leaning on his broom. What can I help you with, lady?
Well, I mean, you see, well, I don't really come from money, you understand, and I tried to go to Arkwright, the, chapter house, and they don't necessarily look well on my kind, and so my folks, well, I just really want to learn.
What's your name?
Oh, my name, Alexis.
Oh, Alexis.
Yes.
My name's Alex. Pleasure to meet you. He
Well,
he reaches
that's
his hand,
quite.
reaches his hand out.
Well, thank you, Alex.
Well, he says, kind of picking a pause. He pauses for a moment. Go ahead and roll a guile test. This will be secret. What's your social class?
My social class is Burger. However, I have Doppelganger, so I get a plus 20 base chance to disguise tests against different social classes.
It's not a disguise.
Okay.
It is a
Guile.
Yeah, you're just lying.
Trying.
To him.
Right.
You're looking for silver tongue.
So, 42. That's what I have for Guile. I don't think a 76 will do it, so let me reroll.
I'll take that misfortune point.
Tasty, tasty.
Tasty misfortune.
However, I'm betting a 38. That's probably okay.
It's better.
It is
Definitely
better.
better.
It is
Chance of
better.
success again?
42.
Okay. Well, he says, I suppose I could show you around the grounds, but the headmaster's not really accepting new students. He seems to believe you're lying. Or maybe he is
Really
lying
good
to
at
you.
Yeah.
I could show you around, I suppose, although I don't think he's taking new students.
Well, I mean, I don't need to study it under him necessarily. I'd really like a place to at least try to further my studies. And I don't really have the money, and I know. Well, I don't know. I thought this might be a place I could find somebody that might be able to help me.
Well, you can read, right?
Yeah.
Read and write.
Yeah. They took me into the monastery, taught me a little bit of that.
Well, like I said, I know the headmaster's not really accepting new students, and frankly, he kind of looks around the grounds. It's kind of a skeleton crew around here. Most students, surprisingly, haven't left yet. I mean, I don't know nothing about no tuitions and payments and such that they've offered, but they tend to just stick around. Haven't I seen you somewhere before? He says.
Have you? I mean, I've been around town. I couldn't find where you were. No one knows much about this place anymore.
Hard to miss and Durendal says.
Right, but it seems like this area is not very populated.
Yeah, most of this side of the town's been cordoned off by the Baroness, or at least by the city. Fire and all. Been a while though, no less. Used to have a lot of people around here about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know for a while, I've been almost 15 years. My dad used to work here too.
Oh. Well, I'll be honest, I didn't know much of the history of it. I just thought that maybe if I wanted to get some learning in, this might be a place.
Like I said, I don't think they're taking students, and well, I don't mean any offense, madam, but I think we've met before, he says, kind of nodding and stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
He kind of stops and he kind of looks back and forth. He leans in real close.
Okay.
You know, a few nights ago, the prophet. He kind of sidles up to you a little closer.
Yeah.
You're safer than me. No, you're fine. I promise. He puts his hand on your shoulder. I saw what you did. If it wasn't for you and everyone else, our brothers would have been killed by the saltpeter men.
I must say it's not necessarily the best thing for me to be loud about such things.
Understood. Mostly just trying to live at this point.
Yeah. Tyranny being what it is, sometimes you can't know who you trust, you know?
Yeah, that. So, I thought you all up and left Durindal.
No.
The prophet and his people, they took the congregation to the west. To Kael Tyrion, he says.
I got lost in the shuffle.
Blimey. Well, I had too much left here. Couldn't just up and leave my family. So I stayed, but... and honestly, my brother and I, we didn't go. We didn't go with the prophet and the others, but we listened to his speech. I saw you and the others.
Yeah? It was inspiring, wasn't it?
What's that?
It'd be nice to live in a place that he speaks of.
Yeah, that. Only Brendis Adelard knows anything about that, though. Brendis and the prophet, they're like two peas in a pod.
Yeah. They went to Calteria. I never knew what happened. I couldn't ask. Well, who do you ask? No more kegs for me to go watch. No more pamphlets. I didn't know what to do.
Adelard was a spy master. They have some plan, I know that. The first, or at least the most critical, was to get their brothers free.
Right.
Our brothers free, he says.
Cut the cut the ropes myself on one.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know why you're really here, but look, this place is right queer.
Yeah.
He points toward through the gate where you can see them kind of filtering by and walking back and forth. Hey, there's your friends.
Yeah, they worry about me. You know, I don't have much of a family. They were taken from me early on. You know, this life we live, it's not necessarily the nicest to people. But I guess they're worried. What I was hoping is to just turn my life around, maybe get out of that district, and maybe if I was more learned, I might have a chance. That's why I came here.
Like I said, I was telling you true. I was trying to remember if I'd seen you, but I was telling you true. The headmaster had taken her students. I tell you what, they balmy as a bat. Oh yeah.
How do you mean?
Things been right queer for some time around here. Right queer indeed. Ever since this Wolstanian came.
Wolstanian?
Yeah. Called himself Abel. Him and the headmaster got real tight for a while. He'd come and go this way and that. Abel, Wolstanian.
Right.
Ever since then, ever since he forged that friendship with him, things have been real strange around here.
Oh.
Mysterious people coming this way and that. Students walking back and forth at night. Not back to the dormitories, mind you, but into the city. There's this one bloke. He's dumb as a doornail. He used to walk around, drop his books behind him, sniffle, wipe his nose full of snot all the time. Could barely form together two sentences. Thought himself top shit. After a while, Abel seemed to take a liking to him. They and the headmaster, I don't know, a few nights ago, they left the chapter house grounds. Well, the headmaster came back.
Right.
If you're looking for a place to live in, it isn't here, lady. Things. He kind of looks toward the tall, cold gray stone of this mostly dilapidated chapter house. Things just ain't the same around here. I won't stick around here too long either. I'm trying to get out myself, he says. Oh! He says, what? He kind of clears his throat very quickly, as you can see that there is a man approaching. Alex! Alex! A tall, thin student wearing blue robes is walking toward you all. Madam, may I help you? He kind of steps between you and this Alex fellow, and Alex kind of wanders off to sweep leaves and eventually disappears. He's this very tall, narrow-looking fellow, probably Aridane, definitely from the west. Hawkish-looking nose, these deep gray piercing eyes, this youth to him, and his hair is long and blonde, with these almost blue silvery eyes and this blue mantle slung over his shoulder. Madam, may I help you?
Oh, yes. My name is Lexus. I come here hoping that possibly I might be able to take in some studies, but
We're accepting no students, madam.
Oh, that's...
You must see you away elsewhere. We are not accepting any new students, in fact.
That's what he told me, so I'll be off then.
Get your hat out of your hand. What are you doing? This is no place for beggars. Go on, girl, go on.
But
Come on now.
right then,
He
sir.
puts his hand on your shoulder. He's trying to kind of like lead you gently back toward the gates.
Yeah, no, she goes without resistance.
Tob, Odd, look. You can't just let people wander in here. As he's now berating the two sentries, and you join the others out in the street about a little bit of time later after you all reconvene at a nearby street near the student apartments.
Well,
And she would inform you guys of everything that she heard. There's not anything she would keep back.
huh. Well,
They ain't making it easy.
Well, I mean, sorry. Obviously, the gods are not exactly the most attentive, so it wouldn't be too hard to get past them. But it makes me worry that there's people in and out. However, if students are going in and out during the night, and well, let's face it, night makes it harder to see things. Procuring a blue cloak and possibly just walking back in might be an option.
Of course, we could talk to old your friend there once he gets off work. Suppose he wouldn't mind being appreciated to have a nice drink and a meal. Maybe he could tell you a little bit more about what's going on once he's away from his place of work.
I mean,
That's-
Alex,
Yeah, Alex.
I have a feeling.
That's an idea right there.
Could be. I don't know if he leaves that particular place. There is barracks. And he did say he's a clerk. It's very possible that that's where he stays at all times.
you also mentioned he had a family.
He
Well,
did.
Might or not.
If I were him, I wouldn't be living in a place like that.
Well, it doesn't seem like he has much option right at this moment. So I don't
Well,
know.
It seems like we have reason to believe that this headmaster is the man that returned from the island.
Or the able person.
Well, I thought your man said that several people left and he was the only one that came back.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
true. I
that's it.
suppose that does match.
Did you catch the fella that shoved you off? Did you catch his name?
Wasn't really able to be turning to him and asking.
Or maybe he.
That was not.
You made a joke.
You're welcome, Warden.
What sort of
I knew we were making an influence on her.
what sort of facial hair does he sport?
Which one? You mean the clerk?
No,
Oh, you mean the one that tried to kick me out?
I do.
Well, did kick you out.
No, he did not have facial hair. Blonde man, blue silvery eyes.
Oh,
Said hawkish nigger. He's an Aridane.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Yeah.
some Walstanian came, caused all kinds of a stir.
Right, that's what Alex said, yes.
I'm not saying you can't trust a Walstanian. I'm just saying that proves the point.
Well, they are known to be causing stirs.
Well, heck, they can't even keep their own country right.
Although, he also told us where the prophet went.
hmm?
Well, Alex said the prophet has now taken all of his people to Keltarion.
Oh yeah.
Well, sure,
One less thing to worry about.
Sir Leland will be happy to hear that.
Well,
if it
that's-
does.
Yeah, one less thing, and also a place to go if we run out of answers here.
One thing outside of a heartbeat to find out. That's my problem. Best to know where things are and where they stand. Don't know at this point with them. And especially with a man who can make a sword catch fire, and what he did. And who can incite men to believe that they're invincible like he did with you.
I never believed I was invincible.
Well,
Did we see a
raise the
single
blood
sign of the law the entire time we were wandering around?
I'm sorry. I thought it
Did we
was.
see a single sign of the law anytime we were wandering around?
You've not seen Brigandine in this part of the city at all now.
Are we still within Lieutenant Reich's area jurisdiction, or are we?
If you're within Besiah Square, yes.
Okay. So
so yes.
Besiah Square is not only a physical location, but it's the actual
Right.
borough, the city, the district.
well,
You said he stirred you with his words. I may have assumed incorrectly.
I've got it.
Hmm.
We have reason to believe that Druce has taken up hiding in this part of the city with all the derelict buildings and all. And so we need to go searching around, and that includes that building there.
Oh, you mean as a reason to get into places?
There's a reason to get in there, as he points to the.
With the Baroness's approval or something, I assume you're going to ask.
Well, you see, I actually have permission to find them, and we've got ourselves a 5 crown reward if we bring them in.
Could work.
How many crowns you get if you don't bring them in?
Nothing.
well, is that what it says, or does it say dead or alive?
No, he told me.
Oh.
Rock told me. He said, "You bring them in, I got 5 crowns for you."
Ah, well then, I guess those fellers are going to be really disappointed when their facade didn't actually ward them with anything.
He didn't indicate that the man had to be breathing when you brought him in.
Nope, he sure didn't.
Well, we're outside Vleeland's area, which I mean, suppose that means you could use force.
Well, I try not to, but if I have to, I ain't shy about it.
Oh, I ain't gonna reason with that Pictish fuck. We see him, one of us leaves on a cot. I promise you that.
If I have anything to say about it, it'll be him, and not you.
Well, I don't know why we would need to, I mean, I don't know.
When I see it, this place, no security. We just walk right in and take what we ask what we want. Why do we got to be all hidey-whitey about it? Just do it. Just ask. I don't know what the term is.
We're Dufresne agents. We're not thugs.
It's hoity-toity.
Hoity-toity. Yeah, hoity-toity. Just be forthright.
I would direct you to the terms of my contract and agreement.
Oh, you
Maybe
see-
not all of you as thugs, but some of us sure as shit is.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, if we can get in there in the right, proper way, then we don't have to worry about any kind of repercussions.
Listen, I don't want to go up to the guards and be like, "We've got reason to believe that your headmaster was into some shit. So we's gonna go and ask him a few questions and possibly arrest him." Thanks.
Why not? I mean, we're Dufresne, right?
Well, they ain't gonna let us in. You know,
There's 2 of them.
that. Listen, they's doing their job.
Right?
They don't look like Brigandine, do they? They look like they're
No.
yeah. They ain't Brigandine.
They're not even dressed in armor. They're literally 2 men standing with tall poles at the gates.
They
One
ain't,
sitting on a chair.
they ain't Brigandine. And you know, if they put up
Turned to look a little mall cop. He's got keys and a walkie-talkie.
Rental security? Yeah.
I mean, what are they gonna do?
Right
It's
back.
just.
They're
I've
gonna,
seen
like
fellas
a
back
taser,
home
but
that are
it's
bigger than them.
they're gonna turn and they're gonna run, and I ain't gonna chase them.
nothing,
Listen.
they ain't gonna do nothing. But if they did, listen, I don't want to go looking for a fight. I'm just gonna say, hey, we need to come in. We need to search.
Right.
We're looking for Druce.
Well, I shouldn't So,
No, you shouldn't.
well, I mean, I could possibly change, but to be honest, even if there was some kind of fight or tussle or whatever,
Ain't
I'm
good.
not much use of that.
There ain't gonna be no tussle today.
What we could do,
Not with those bone thin little boys anyway.
what we could do is we could see about maybe coming back on the morrow. Maybe we get you some sort of something to put you out under.
Well, they won't know who I was. That's not an issue.
Yeah. I mean, if we come back in a day,
I mean, he saw your face, so he'd probably know if he saw you again, even if it was disguised. I bet, right? I mean, if it were me.
Mayhap. It matters. Not. To be honest, even if I was to come back in, if I didn't say I was Dufresne, I have what appears to be a friend inside of those walls.
I just figured we're here right now.
all right.
Why make any bones about it? Just go in and say our piece.
Did you know which door that man came out of? The blonde.
He came up behind, but I would assume he would have come from underneath the dais.
All right.
Would make the most sense.
Simple.
Appears to be the main area.
Simple enough. Well, then, you two go one way, we go the other, and I'll make sure that we run into that fellow as we're doing our investigation.
Alright, let's set to it.
So, we're going to approach the.
I promise not to punch anyone who doesn't need punching.
Well, who's going with between you two?
He's a better puncher.
You got the better shot. Oh, you don't have? You don't have? Yeah.
We
he's
came to
better.
reconnoiter a rim. What do we need a
I'll go
crossbow
with
for?
her. I'll go with her. No reason
Right,
to
then.
argue about it.
You walk back up to the guards and they're like, "Oh, hello, you're back. Hello."
Oh, to me?
Yeah.
Yes. I realized that I forgot to tell something to my friend Alex.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't let you inside.
You can't.
I'm very sorry, he says. Yeah, he's sorry. The other one says.
I'll breathe real heavy like. Alright. Listen. There are a couple ways this can go down. And there's one that you like a lot more than the other. So what's gonna happen here is you're gonna say that I came up and I swung a blade around and you're gonna run over in that direction. Nothing you can do. No one will think anything less of you. But let's just say I'd take that option now so I don't have to keep fucking talking about it. I'll just stare him down and attempt to
Go
intimidate him.
Make an easy intimidate test.
Alright, easy intimidate is 85%. Red is my 10th place. I'm gonna re-roll that. This is a good time to. I did not critically fail.
You gonna take a roll though?
Now you did.
I critically
Oh,
failed
my
on this idiot. I
He's
critically failed.
he's got a sword! He's got a sword! Bring him Dean! All you can hear is like the
I knew
clattering
that
of their spears as they hit the ground, and they run all right, but they don't run back toward the. They don't run where you told them to. They begin heading back. They begin running at breakneck pace down the road you came from toward Messiah Square. The clock is now ticking.
Can we intercept them?
That didn't go as
Were
well as I
we
hoped.
behind them, or where were we?
You want to chase them down?
Not to
What?
attack them, but to like.
Well, you weren't
Stop.
there, so you
Okay,
don't really know.
I didn't know where
Right.
I was. That's
You're
what I
right.
was trying to get
You're-
at.
You were away from there. But
Okay,
you don't
never mind.
know
Never
that he
mind.
didn't tell them to go that direction.
Never mind. I thought it was
Yeah.
down the street. Sorry.
No.
No.
I think we got enough time. I'm not getting paid enough to run.
You look. The three of you look around the corner of the alley, and you can see that the sentries are now gone. Their spears lying on the ground.
I don't know.
One's
what,
kind of rolling through the street.
I don't know what they said, but apparently it was super effective.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's time for us to go and go the other way. So we're going in there.
All right.
We're doing this.
So you all collect together.
Yeah, I'll pick up this stick and put it back.
Okay. lean the spear against the wall.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, here
We
you go.
may have a very limited span of time.
I'm very
so let us go
OCD.
quickly.
I'm just being nice. The thing don't want to roll away.
I'll
Sorry.
operate well within constraints.
Right. Well, I'm going to try and get up there to wherever the headmaster is.
It's that tower.
Yeah. That one.
You all collect
And you the key.
in the grounds, and you can see that there is but one entrance into this place. It's a very, very tall threshold, narrow like a church door, about twice the height of a man. You all come inside, and you can hear kind of it's this very large open atrium of a sort, with it's kind of laying with flagstone, and kind of encircling the atrium are these balustrades. Further and further out, there are clearly there are floors above this one, above the ground floor, and you could hear this kind of sound of people deeper within, like perhaps not that.
Wow.
This got ominous. Very ominous.
Good thing I'm wearing my brown pants.
That's right. Damn. You can hear somewhere deeper within that there are people, probably in the midst of a lecture, you would gather. Probably a dog barking somewhere.
Some kid brought their dog to class.
That's right.
Probably in their like satchel.
Was this the little rascals?
Yeah.
One of them's a junior rat
That's
catcher.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
just going with
They're a rat. Their first impression. Yeah, was a rat catcher.
You know that the clock is now ticking. It's only a matter of time until Brigandine shows up.
that. Gotta
You can
find
see
it
sets of
first.
stairs that lead upward. The facility clearly has rooms on the second floor. Is that where you intend to go?
We ain't got much time. So I'm going to where the headmaster is. And we need some of you to look elsewhere. Now, since you're the investigative type,
Alright.
I imagine we take you two and look elsewhere. You two are coming with me, so
Alright.
that's Elisa and Alistair. You're gonna go and see what you can find.
And he's obviously great at negotiating.
We have a very effective team so far.
Yeah, good job. So Harper, one you with me. We's gonna go see the headmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your eyes out for cloaks.
All right.
If we can find enough blue cloaks, it might serve as a good way to melt in.
This is the intention to split up.
Yeah.
Okay, you all gain 2 corruption. You begin to feel a bit discombobulated, knowing that you're splitting your time between one another and don't have each other's backs. Not only that, you have the impending clock of Brigandine arriving, probably armed, ready to arrest anyone who has probably passed through here and threaten. Maybe the threat was misunderstood by the sentries, but hey, it got the job done. So, who is in Terwin's group? Okay. And then Elisa and Alistair, you're in the other group?
Yeah.
Okay, so Elisa and Alistair, where are you going?
I'm gonna head around. I would say head around that first floor, kind of looking around the lecture hall areas. Maybe look for a barracks for students.
Okay. Well, it's clearly kind of where you all are around. There's like this open galley with catwalks and balconies, kind of rising from the ground floor to the roof. And there's kind of a beehive of activity down here as you kind of walk into smaller halls. You can hear people kind of attending in classrooms. If you can imagine, like you've seen in movies, like those auditoriums where they have vivisections. The auditoriums that house the students are similar to that, and you're kind of checking all the doors throughout these hallways, and most are empty, save for one, where you can kind of peek inside the middle of a class, and there's this man who's a very tall man with blonde hair and a blue mantle, the man you had seen earlier, Elisa, and he is giving instruction to students. And you can see that kind of up on this black chalkboard, he has drawn out which essentially looks like this long tube. And it is standing or I should say it's lingering in the air above these what look like buildings. And there are these schematics that are pointing toward, and all these formulas written up on the blackboard as he's giving instruction, talking about the ether in the air must be displaced by an opposite amount of some word you don't quite understand, and the dirigible is then drawn through the air as if a swallow's wings to wind. And it continues on, and should the wind go this way and that, it will thrash and flail like a boat upon a stormy sea. And they are kind of pinning in their own kind of heavy tones, they're kind of taking notes as he's speaking. There's perhaps maybe 10 to 15 students in here who are also wearing blue mantles.
At least it's going to take at least a moment to try to scratch down some of the equation.
What are you doing?
She pulls out her book, the door creaks.
Finding out what they're looking at.
They're fucking school kids in short pants. Who gives a shit what they're looking at?
Obviously not. It appears there's something more going on. This isn't something I studied.
I think that what we might be looking for is their night habits there, but I'll trust your judgment on that, I guess. I'll look around through the other doors.
You come to another door, and you see an open auditorium that is unoccupied, but something immediately draws your gaze, Alistair. You can see what appears to be this very complex miniature replication of the entirety of Durindal that has been assembled across several tables. It's actually been pulled apart as of the moment. It looks like it's still being assembled, but it appears to be like literally a three-dimensional sculpture of the entire city carved in wood, and it has not yet been painted, save for what you can see what look like towers along the edges of the city and the walls. It has not yet been finished.
I don't know the city well enough, I assume, to identify any major differences.
Nothing notably, at least. Go ahead and make a scrutinize test, and we'll see if you can suss something out, at least.
Alright.
It's a routine test.
Alright. Routine scrutinize for me is a 52. I got a 31.
Nice. Your eyes turn toward one part of the city that you were pretty sure is the Geldman and Zox Foundry. The place where you had witnessed the soot-stained prince give his impassioned speech, because that building has actually been. It looks like they have actually cut away parts of the building, make it look like it's been destroyed.
That's curious. I suppose I'll investigate that part of it. I'll put my hands on the model and see if I can pick up pieces of it or move anything. I'll get handsy.
It looks like they've been fastened or glued into this kind of wooden placard, and it's very large. I mean, this piece of the city is 4x8 itself. I mean, there's several parts of the city are like this. Imagine like the what's the table that Stannis has in Game of Thrones of the entirety of Westeros.
Right.
Like, this is a very large series of tables that resemble the city that is laid out, and clearly it's had to have been. It's not a artistic representation; it's a true representation, you would guess. You free one of the painted towers and stuff it into your pocket. Put a white wooden tower on your character sheet.
Sweet. I always wanted that.
Is that a white wooden tower in your pocket? Or just fantasy?
Somewhere in the city it collapses.
You have found a clue.
It was a voodoo city.
Yes. I have a clue.
Ooh. Most of those have been in my notebook. Dun, dun, dun.
So you don't need to write anything down. You just break it and take it.
I would like to break the discussion that's happening inside of this classroom. And
You
take
found
it
a
with
miniature
me.
wooden tower. This is your clue, Alistair.
Oh, yeah.
We will take a break and resume for episode 20 of Queen of Embers in just a few moments.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. We'll
Find a
dial
clue.
back in.
Dun, dun, dun.